But then there began a sort of wild kickering and squeaking everywhere, all about, and presently there was a sound of running and trotting, as of thousands of little feet behind the walls, and thousands of little lights began to glitter out between the chinks of the woodwork. But they were not lights. No, little glittering eyes, and Marie became aware that everywhere mice were peeping and squeezing themselves out through every chink. Presently they were trotting and galloping in all directions over the room, orderly bodies continually increasing, of mice forming themselves into regular troops and squadrons in good order, just as Fritz's soldiers did when maneuvers were going on. As Marie was not afraid of mice, as many children are, she could not help being amused by this, and her first alarm had nearly left her when suddenly there came such a sharp and terrible piping noise that the blood ran cold in her veins. Ah, what did she see then? Well, truly, kind reader, I know that your heart is in the right place, just as much as my friend Field Marshal Fritz's is, but if you had seen what now came before Marie's eyes, you would have made a clean pair of heels of it. Nay, I considered that you would have plumped into your bed, drawn the blankets further over your head. Oh, the necessity demanded. But poor Marie hadn't in her power to do any such thing, because right at her feet, as if impelled by some subterranean power, sand and lime, broken stone came bursting up, and then 7 mouse heads with 7 shining crowns upon them rose through the floor, hissing and piping in a most horrible way. Quickly, the body of the mouse, which had these 7 crowned heads, forced its way up through the floor. This enormous creature shouted with its 7 heads aloud to the assembled multitude, squeaking to them with all the 7 mouths in full chorus. Then the entire army set itself in motion and went trot, trot, right up to the cupboard, and in fact to Marie, who was standing beside it. Marie's heart had been beating so with terror that she had thought it must jump out of her breast and she must die. But now it seemed to her as if the blood in her veins stood still. Half fainting, she leant backwards, and then there was a crack, 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 and a pane of the cupboard, broken by her elbow, fell in shivers to the floor. She felt for a moment a sharp, stinging pain in her arm, but it seemed to make her heart lighter. She heard no more of the squeaking and piping. Everything was quiet, and though she didn't dare to look, she thought the noise of the breaking glass had frightened the mice back to the holes. But what came to pass then? Right behind Marie, a movement seemed to commence in the cupboard, and small faint voices began to be heard saying, "Come awake, measures take, out to the field, out to the field, shield the right, arm and away, this is the night." And harmonica bells began ringing as prettily as you please. Oh, that's my little peal of bells," cried Marie, and went nearer and looked in. Then she saw that there was bright light in the cupboard, and everything was busily in motion there. dolls and little figures of various kinds, all running about together and struggling with their little arms. At this point, Nutcracker rose from his bed, cast off the bedclothes, and sprang with both feet onto the floor of the shelf, crying out at the top of his voice, "Knock, knock, knock! Stupid mousy pack! All their skulls were crack! Mousy pack, knock, knock! Mousy pack, crick and crack! Proudly call a snack!" And with this, he drew his little sword, waved it in the air, and cried, "Ye, my trusty vassals, brethren and friends, are ye ready to stand by me in this great battle?" Immediately, 3 scaramouches, 1 pantaloon, 4 chimney sweeps, 2 zither players, and a drummer cried in eager accents, "Yes, your highness, I'll stand by you in royal duty. I will follow you to death, victory in the fray." And they precipitated themselves after Nutcracker, who in the excitement of the moment had dared that perilous leap to the bottom shelf. Now they might well dare this perilous leap, for not only had they got plenty of clothes on of cloth and silk, but besides there was not much in their insides except cotton and sawdust, so that they plumped down like little wool sacks. As for poor Nutcracker, he would certainly have broken his arms and legs, for bethink you, it was nearly 2 feet from where he had stood to the shelf below, and his body was as fragile as if he had been made of elm wood. Yes, Nutcracker would have broken his arms and legs, had not Miss Clara started up at the moment of a spring and received the hero, drawn sword and all, in her tender arms. "Oh, you dear, good Clara!" cried Marie. "How I did misunderstand you! Oh, I believe you were quite willing to let dear Nutcracker have your bed." But Miss Clara now cried, as she pressed the young hero gently to his silken breast, "Oh, my lord! Oh, go not into this battle in danger, sick and wounded as you are. See how your trusty vassals, clowns and pantaloon, chimney sweep, zitherman and drummer, are already arrayed below, and the puzzle figures in my shelf here are in motion and preparing for the fray. Deign, oh my lord, to rest in these arms of mine, and contemplate your victory from a safe coign of vantage." Thus spoke Clara, but Nutcracker behaved so impatiently and kicked so with his legs that Clara was obliged to put him down on the shelf in a hurry. However, he at once sank gracefully on one knee and expressed himself as follows: "O lady, the kind protection and aid which you have afforded me will ever be present to my heart in battle and in victory." On this, Clara bowed herself so as to be able to take hold of him by his arms, raised him gently up, quickly loosed her girdle, which was ornamented with many spangles, and would have placed it upon his shoulders. But the little man swiftly drew himself 2 steps back, laid his hand upon his heart, and said with much solemnity, "Oh, lady, do not bestow this mark of your favor upon me, for—" He hesitated, gave a deep sigh, took the ribbon with which Marie had bound him from his shoulders, pressed it to his lips, put it on as a token, and waving his glittering sword, sprang like a bird over the ledge of the cupboard down to the floor. You will observe, dear reader, that Nutcracker, even before he really came to life, had felt and understood all Marie's goodness and regard, and that it was because of his gratitude and devotion to her that he would not take or even wear Miss Clara's ribbon, although it was exceedingly pretty and charming. This good, true-hearted Nutcracker preferred Marie's much commoner and less pretentious token. But what is going to happen now? At the moment when Nutcracker sprang down, the squeaking and piping began again, worse than ever. Alas, under the big table, the hordes of the mouse army had taken up a position, densely massed, under the command of the terrible mouse with the 7 heads. So what is to be the result?